Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the ultimate clean foundation guide. Sat down to think of new video ideas and I thought to myself, what videos do I wish that I had when I was first starting clean beauty? And that was definitely foundation videos. I feel like foundation is always just such a struggle to find the right one. I spend so much money on foundations that seriously I do not ever use, and they were really just for testing purposes, but now I have all this knowledge of these foundations and I wanted to share with you guys, let you know what's worth your money, because especially now, green foundations, clean foundations, really any foundations are super pricey. So I wanted to just really make your life easier, make picking a foundation out easier. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So this is going to be sort of a series. I'm going to split it up in light coverage, medium coverage, full coverage, and then also include powder foundations as well in some of those categories. So today's video is going to be more of light to buildable foundations. I'm going to go over price, shade range, finish, all that jazz. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the other parts of this series. Then also a little bit about my skin before we hop into it is that I have pretty normal to oily skin. I don't usually have dry patches, but I do have texture, and I usually have some acne going on as well. Also, do keep in mind foundation is such a personal thing. These are just my experiences. If some of these worked for me, they might not work for you, and vice versa. So really, I just wanted to provide you guys with the most information possible so you can make a good foundation choice. So let's just go ahead and get into it. I'm really excited. Let's get started. So the first foundation I want to talk about is the Beautycounter Dew Skin Moisturizing Coverage Broad Spectrum. I would classify this more of like a tinted moisturizer. That's why it is in the light coverage category. This does have SPF 30. Got my little notepad about the price. This is $45 and it comes in 5 shades. So a limited shade range, and it is pricey. It has SPF 20 like I mentioned. It also contains vitamin C and sodium hyaluronate. So it's going to be really nice and moisturizing and hydrating for your skin. So let's get started. I have the shade number 2. I'm going to swatch all of these foundations for you guys on their own next to each other, but I will just put them on my hand to show you the texture. Here is what it blends in to be. This is sort of a very, what I would describe as a classic tinted moisturizer feel. It has a little bit of sort of that, just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like a grip to it that does feel very moisturizing when you blend it in. It's definitely not a matte finish product. If you have super oily skin, I don't think you would like this. In terms of coverage, I would say it is light, but it's very, very buildable. It's not a super sheer coverage, so it is very versatile. I think a lot of people will enjoy this, but it does have that limited shade range. It blends into my skin tone relatively well, so I think with the limited shades, you could probably still figure out something to work, but it does not go very deep, which is not good. The way I enjoy applying this is definitely with my fingers or a sponge, anything that's this texture where it sort of has that grip to it. Really like to work it into my skin to get the most even finish. This is like the perfect beach product. I brought this on vacation with me. If you want a little bit of coverage, a little bit added SPF, this is a really nice, just universal product. I also would wear this at night. It gives me enough coverage that you can really take it day to night and not worry about needing a lot of extra coverage. So I do enjoy this product. It is pricey. It's really not my absolute favorite product. I feel like there is better products out there, but if you were interested in trying this, I do think it is a nice tinted moisturizer option. Next up, this technically is not a foundation or tinted moisturizer, but it is a moisturizing tinted face sunscreen from Sontagrity. It's their mineral matte tinted coverage. This has peptides, vitamin C and E, and SPF 30. It's vegan, silicone-free, oil-free, and offers blue light protection. This is like a product that does it all. I wanted to include this in a foundation video because it has a really, really, really nice amount of coverage. Like, I feel like it even has more coverage than the Beautycounter Dew Skin. So this shade I have is the shade Buff, which I believe is the second or the third shade. The first shade of this is super fair. I did have a sample of it. Here's what it looks like on my hand. It feels really creamy and has less stickiness than the Beautycounter Dew Skin. So I feel like it does offer a little bit more of like a moisturizing, sort of dewy feel to the skin. blends in really nicely. This is also a great like travel beach product because you get protection and coverage all in one. I really like this product. I purchased it after getting a sample of it. I think it's great. This is pricey as well. It is $55 and you get 2 ounces of product. This Beautycounter one is 1.35. So actually I feel like this is not too bad of a deal because you do get 2 ounces. Most foundations are 1 ounce. And then again, only 5 shades, so pretty limited. This one I feel like adapts to your skin tone less because it does have a good amount of pigment in it. So I would keep in mind that the shade range of this is very limited and it can't really adapt to your skin tone too well, at least what I noticed, because it is just so pigmented. So definitely keep that in mind. But this is another one of my favorites. I use this a ton. Doesn't get too oily. I do not like a very oily, dewy feel to my skin, and this doesn't really offer that. You can set it with powder and it's good to go. If you did want to splurge on a sunscreen that's tinted, I would definitely recommend this one. One of my favorite sunscreens I've tried. Alright, moving right along to the Eerie Perez Oat Milk Foundation. I do have a review of this and a comparison to their water foundation that I posted a while back. I will link it below. Also, I will link any other reviews, full reviews I have for the foundations that I'm mentioning today. But this is in the shade Honey. It comes in 6 shades, and I noticed that there's not a very deep shade at all. There is 6 shades, but they're all sort of in that medium to light range, which is disappointing for this. I did mention that in my original review as well. This has gentle exfoliating properties because of the oat milk. It helps to balance the pH levels of your skin as well, and it is great for sensitive skin. This ranges, I found a couple different prices from $35 to $38. It comes in this little squeezy tube, and there it is on my hand. As you can tell, this is definitely a lighter shade, and I believe this is like the second to lightest shade, and it is very fair. So keep that in mind with the shade range too. So this blends in really nicely. I would say this is more on the medium side of coverage, but I included it in this because it can be sheared out. If you use this with a sponge, I definitely get more of a light coverage, but if you used a brush or built up the coverage, you can definitely build this up to a more medium coverage. This is one of those foundations, I'm really not crazy about it. I don't use it a ton. I think it's nice, but it's just like it's not something that I rave about a ton. Something I don't reach for. I think if you have more normal to dry skin, I think you would like this foundation a lot. But personally for me, I think it just gets a little bit too oily throughout the day. The finish is just really not my favorite, and again, the shade range is pretty limited. Anyway, that is it for the Eerie Perez Oat Milk Foundation. Let's go ahead and move on. Now, the next product I have here isn't really a tinted moisturizer or a foundation, but I want to mention it because it does offer some skin evening properties. This is from Vidal Liberata. It's their Beauty Blur Skin Tone Optimizer. I have the shade Latte Light. I got this off of Ulta. This is a really interesting product. It comes with like this little pump. I think the packaging is gorgeous. This is described as a primer and skin finisher. It has a sheer tint and it comes in 3 shades. So this you could use as a primer or use it on its own, which is why I included it because it does have some pigment in it. It has the most gorgeous reflect to it. It feels super thin and slippery, so it doesn't feel like a thick tinted moisturizer at all. Great layering option. As you can tell, it gives my hand a really nice even glow. They do have 3 shades of this, but they're so sheer. I feel like really anybody could use these. Really beautiful finish. Not a lot of coverage at all. Very sheer tint, but I still wanted to mention it because I think it's a beautiful sort of glowy product. This also is $40. Did I mention that? I'm not sure. $40 on Ulta. I really enjoy this product. I'm really happy that I decided to try this out. It's really pretty. Like I said, you can wear it on its own or you can layer it up under foundation, and it kind of just gives your skin this really pretty even finish to it. And it adds a slight glow without being dewy or oily, so I really enjoyed this product from Vidal Liberata. We've got a couple foundations left. Next up is the 100% Pure Fruit Pigmented Water Foundation. It's funny, this is advertised as full coverage. Personally, I do not think it's full coverage. I think it's a light to medium coverage. You could definitely build it up, but it would just take so many layers of this, I feel like, to be full coverage. So this, of course, 100% pure. They also have really good ingredients in their foundations. Retails for $41, and this one actually has the best shade range out of all these foundations, which is great. It has 19 shades, and it does range to very deep, which is amazing. Props to 100% Pure for actually offering a nice, good shade range. Has aloe and green tea, really skin nourishing. I used this in one of my previous videos. Again, not my favorite. It just clings to my skin pretty weird. If you have dry patches or any sort of texture, I would not recommend this because personally for me, really does just accentuate texture, and I don't find that it's very dewy. It's sort of a satin finish in not a good way. This foundation isn't my favorite. I keep trying it and I just can't get myself to like it. I have the shade Warm 2. Here is the shade Warm 2. As you can tell, it definitely offers a good amount of coverage. Maybe if you applied it with a brush, you could get more out of it, but I always prefer a sponge, and I don't know, I just can't get that foundation to work the way that I like it to. But again, foundation is just so personal. It's different for everybody. If you did want to try this, they offer samples, which is also amazing. You can find that on their site. I will link everything below. But yeah, that is it for this. I don't know if I mentioned $41. So again, not the priciest foundation, but also not affordable. So that is that for the 100% Pure foundation. Okay, next up is, I don't think I've ever mentioned this on my channel because this is actually a pretty old foundation. It's the Josie Maran Vibrancy Fluid Foundation. You can find this at Sephora. This retails for $45 and has 14 shades. So good shade range compared to the other products that I mentioned. It does contain argan oil like most other Josie Maran products. I think the packaging of this is really pretty. I have the shade RG10. This again is one of those foundations that definitely leans on the more medium side of things, but I included it in the light coverage because it does just have such moisturizing properties. It tends to sheer out when you apply it with a sponge or your hands or anything other than a brush, really. This foundation isn't my favorite either. I feel like it's for a very specific type of skin that would love this product. It's not for me. It gets too oily. I don't know if it just has too many oils in it. It doesn't stay on my skin very well. If you have very dry skin, if you want something that's really comforting on the skin, it gives a nice amount of moisturization, I think you would love this foundation. It has such a beautiful finish to it. But if you have normal to oily skin, maybe get a sample. Be wary of how sort of dewy it looks on the skin if you don't like that. But I think it's a pretty solid, clean foundation. Like I said, they do offer this at Sephora. So if you have one near you, definitely pop in, swatch it. You could always get a sample there as well. So that is it for this, $45. I feel like, am I saying the prices twice or am I just forgetting and then actually saying them? I really have no idea. Sorry if I am. But yeah, that's it for that. Let's go on to our last foundation in this category. The last foundation is a very hyped foundation. You've probably heard of it. You might have tried it already. It's the Kosas Tinted Face Oil. I do have a full review of this. Comes in 16 shades, which I think is nice. It says online that the 16 shades adapt to 48 skin tones. So this is one of those foundations that you can sort of work with the shade that you have. Has an oil blend of jojoba, avocado, and red raspberry seed oil. So a ton of oils in this. Even though this is an oil-based foundation, it really does feel like a dry oil on the skin. It is super liquidy. You really have to shake it up before you use it. This is such, I feel like, an innovative foundation. I really have never tried anything like this. It feels literally just so thin and lightweight, and it doesn't feel oily, even though it is oil-based. It just feels super smooth on the skin. This is one of my favorite foundations. This is a type of foundation where I feel like it works for such a wide range of skin types and people. If you want something super quick, this is great. If you want something you could really work with and build up, this is also a really great option. I feel like it's just a really good all-around versatile foundation. They also have a good amount of shades, which is great. I think the packaging is nice. It's sleek. Haven't experienced any sort of like leaking with it. It does sort of get around the nozzle here because it is just so liquidy, but you can really easily clean that off. This is a really beautiful product. This is also available at Sephora now. So if you want to get a sample, test the shades out, definitely pop into Sephora and do that. This is a really great foundation. I think it wears well even on textured skin, oily skin. Doesn't accentuate anything, even though it is more of a dry oil feel and it just has that pigment in it. Make sure you shake it up. Other than that, I really enjoy this. I think a lot of people would enjoy this as well. So that was the last foundation in my first video of my ultimate guide to clean foundations. Hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Helps me out a ton. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the other 2 parts of this little series I'm going to be providing for you guys. So thank you for watching. Let me know if you've tried any of these foundations and what your favorite is. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.